Hi, Luminaires! Jamie Butler here, and Maitland in the background hitting the chimes. If you're new to this channel, I am a medium, a trance channeler, Reiki master, author, mom, friend, and sharer. I think that's a big one right there. I definitely am passionate about sharing my experiences and helping normalize this big woo-woo aspect of being energy sensitive. And those chimes you hear in the background operate completely on their own. There is no wind, window, current of airflow. These chimes tend to go off during times when we're speaking about something that spirit feels is important. They'll often say hello. So there's that. I think one day I'll put them in view so you can see what I'm talking about, but I would have to block out the air vents over here. So today, I just wanted to talk about how do we approach even the topic of trance channeling. Before we get into that, big hello to everybody that's here. Hi, Loomies. Especially a sweet hello to all the members here showing up. Vera K. Just hello, everyone. Thank you, Jamie, for this video. I feel pulled to sign up for the trance channeling classes, but when I read the description, I get intimidated. I'm excited to learn more about it today. Ooh, I hope that you're going to put your fingers to the keyboard and ask some questions as we're chatting about it, because I'd love to hear what intimidates you. What is it? Because it could simply be us. I have spirit tickling my nose too. Everybody is out. It could simply, being tuned into your own great power is intimidating. So I would love to hear more. Shelly Ham, did you watch the channeling yesterday? Seth was the guest speaker. Yes, he was. I did not watch it though. We had a channeling on Learn It Live where Spirit gives a little bit of a lesson, a talk, and then Grace answers questions, personal, global, universal questions. And so I have not rewatched that. Often if the trance channelings that I provide are live, I don't go back and observe the content. I feel a little weird watching myself not be me and not recalling having that conversation or knowing that knowledge. Sometimes it's a little off-putting to me. So I like to get the report from Colleen. So it's her job to inform me. Hi, Jane Howard. Oh, I love how you guys support each other. I really enjoy when you guys chat to each other. Hi, Kiara. I have a personal question about channeling. I found myself very often out of my body. Is that a good thing for channeling, or is it something I should work on before learning to channel? Out of body, OBE, is definitely something that I'll be teaching in the 16-week series. So if it's something that you can already achieve, I would not unlearn or unravel that, because it can be used, especially in deep trance channeling, which often is referred to as full body incorporated channeling. So that's just one more tool that you have in your pocket. But my mom is hanging out. Hi. My mom and my dad, they're signing in. Say hi to everybody out there. So I figured when we're talking about trance channeling, it would be something good to really say, what is channeling? Because I think the definition of channeling is often confused with so many different things. We use it as a verb, we use it as a noun, and it pulls up different definitions for people. Sometimes when you hear the term channeling, you might immediately think Edgar Cayce or Abraham Hicks. And those are two full examples of trance channeling. That's where a person loses their consciousness, allows spirit to use their body and communicate. That is something that I do in my trance channeling classes, when I offer monthly lessons. It's also what I'm going to be teaching too in the 16-week series, but that does not mean I'm going to overlook some of these other definitions of channeling. So the goal is, my nose is, it's like somebody is touching the tip of it. My goal in the 16 weeks is to get you comfortable with trance channeling and channeling. So I'm going to aim towards the deepest level, which is full body incorporation. But you might not find that as a comfortable position. Maybe you're not the next Edgar Cayce, but you're more apt to automatic writing. So when we look at the definition of channeling, it's often interchangeable for people who are psychic, intuitive, sensitive, energy-centric, or medium. They channel information. A channel is a bit like a straw. You got a straw, content moves through it and out of it. It has a source at the beginning, it comes through the straw, and then it lands somewhere else afterwards. That is a channel. So let's look at different ways that information can come through. That could be you out there doing the aha moment. Do you guys have aha moments? Where all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I get it. I know the meaning of life. This is intense. Do you have those moments where you're sitting down and all of a sudden slap in the back of your head, you've got answers, and you weren't deeply meditating on it? That could be considered a type of channeling. Same as gut instinct, same as heartfelt, intuitiveness, and then maybe a little bit more meatier, we could say all those clairs, clairvoyant, audient, sentient, cognizant. We include the olfactory, the taste, clair taste. I've been meaning to look this one up. If you know it, please type it in the chat thread. It is clairgustorial, something similar to that. But all of those are a form of channeling as well, like when you get premonitions. So daydreams, night dreams, and you get premonitions of what's to come. That is often used as a definition of you're channeling that information in. You are a channel, a conduit. Also telepathy, that's another kind of channeling. And then if we get more meatier, a little bit more intense, then that's when we're going to be talking about astral projection and Kiara. That's when we're going to be talking about outer body experiences and full body incorporated trance channeling. It's like, what? So channeling has this spectrum. And in the 16-week series, we'll dance through all of them, but the main goal is to get comfortable in a deep trance state and get comfortable with channeling information in. So for me, the definition of channeling is to be a conduit to receive information from a subtle light source. So it's not from one body of matter to another body of matter, but a subtle light source that maybe you can't identify, put your finger on, but you're receiving information from there. Oh, Ollie, you might win. Clairgustance. How do I say it? Clairgustance? Stop. Is that what it is? Ollie, you win. I'm going to do my best to remember that. Ed Gonzalez says, all the time I go deeper within the response of feeling. Ooh, wait, you sound like you are picking up from something else you shared, which was a smiley face. Oh, it's sweet. You guys are saying hi to my mom and dad. So, right, Kiara, I would love to talk about that. Here in Italy, which is where you are, you said that channeling is all that's still quite taboo, which was actually the first sentence I heard from my grandmother, my dad's mother, Elaine, when my life started to unravel in a not so fun way. Felt like a psychiatric breakdown, seeing things, hearing things that I knew I wasn't manifesting. And I called my father and I said, I need some help. I was like, do you know Sybil, that character, the multi-personalities? I feel like that's me. I need help. And he goes, before you check yourself into a hospital, this kind of runs in the family. Why don't you talk to Nana, Elaine, see what she says? So I remember calling her, and she told me that this runs in the family and that it was very taboo, that we weren't to talk about it. And they thought that if they just ignored it and they left it alone, that it would go away. Come to find out, in our family, it does not just go away. And I'm going to say, if that happened with me, I am for sure that is happening to others out there. So this taboo, because this ability to channel information from an unknown source doesn't sound so 3D to us, we are trained that there is an expert, a source of knowledge and information. We're trained that way in scientific terms, we're trained that way as people, and then when we look at faith, belief, religions, we're trained that there is a God source that is the expert that has the information. And so we are constantly told that the expert is not within us, it is external. And now if you're receiving this information far beyond where your knowledge is and what you're capable of understanding, then this is not healthy. This is not good. It is seen as being wooed into something that would be a waif from experts, which could be seen as unfavorable. So demonic, the devil's work, falls into witchcraft, ritual, those things shunned for not, I guess, being normal, like everything else, being controllable. How would it be if everybody on earth, everybody, that's a big statement to make, but I'm going for it. How would it be if everybody on earth had a connection to a source of information? If everybody was a channeler? In ways, I like to say that we are. We're absolutely channelers. We do it all the time with our aha moments, our gut instincts, our heartfelt. We do it all the time with our tiny premonitions when we know stuff without people telling us. It's a form of channeling. It's an ability that we naturally have. So throughout history, we get a little bit more, I guess, in-depth examples of it. Like if we look at the Delphi oracles in Greece, we can even tap into Christianity and go through the Bible and read examples of channeling and trance channeling and communication to subtle light bodies to obtain information and messages. We could dive into Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, all of this, even religious and lifestyle and scientific, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, have definitions of why we are able to access energy in this way and communicate it to information. It is interesting. You guys are typing in so much, and I want to pause and read a little bit. Kara says, even people who visit Famous Channeler, when I told I was going to do this, they were, no, be careful, it's dangerous, and blah, 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 blah. That's how she wrote it, by the way. Yes, I understand that. I am located here in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's in the United States of America. And we have what we call the Bible Belt here. And it is a Baptist collection of religious wealth, like belief system. And in that, if you do not follow God, then you do the devil's work. So, Kiara, I connect and resonate when you say, be careful, it's dangerous. When I used to teach, lecture, I wasn't really teaching, I didn't have the class, in Marco Party, who is a thenologist. I believe I'm saying that right. He studies death and dying, and he worked with Kubler-Ross, and he helped spearhead hospice that is globally known now. And he would invite me to his class to educate what it's like to be a channel and what it's like for me to communicate with spirit and the beyond. And he used to sit me down and say, I want to remind you that we are in a Bible belt, that people are going to come from a certain religious standpoint and not immediately be able to connect to you. They're going to see it as dangerous. They're going to see it as the devil's work. And that is exactly, what I received many times. I lectured in classes. I bring this up because if you're choosing and you're connected to wanting to trance channel, even understand trance a little bit more and channel, whether it's in a lighter way or deeper way, on the spectrum, that in the class, I will pause and have 2 classes strictly dedicated How do you talk about this? How do you say, this is what I do? Because a lot of us who are energy centric and we're connected to this, we're compassionate and open people. We're not doing the work because we want to be showy and shock other people and just tell them to sit down, like you don't even know what's going on, like this is the truth. Most of us, this is not what we get excited about. We're like, please, you live your life. I love you. I would like to live mine, and I'm curious about this. And I'll also be very adamant in teaching you about boundaries. So that whole dangerous aspect, what really is dangerous? Why is it really taboo? It is because you have an endless resource of information and knowledge. Just pause and think about it for a second. I'm not talking you got a set of, is it called Britannica? Dad, help me out. Britannica encyclopedias. I'm talking you have the entire internet built in. We joke over here, we call it Spirit Google. And if you can work with your physical body to the point where you can use it as an instrument and stay neutral, not triggered to one outcome or another, not trying to control your experience, not saying the work has to look a certain way because I have an image. No. Set aside the ego. Even set aside sometimes your needs, but maintaining your safety and your boundaries so nothing is dangerous to you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, which we do slow down and talk about mental health a little bit because that's of some concern. Because often if people can't connect to you and understand how you're able to do this, they're going to say, oh, that's a mental health issue. You've got problems. You are going crazy. You are psychotic. You have a secondary personality. But there has been so many studies out there. There are not many, but the ones that have been done, like looking at Rupert Sheldrake, or even looking at the Noetic Science Center over in San Francisco, you will find that the studies that they have done, there is a clear distinction between somebody who is channeling information from another source that is unseen versus somebody who has a mental health imbalance. Like there's a woman, Helena Walbe, and she works at the Noetic Science Center. She's actually the director of research at the IONS Center. And she has done years of research, and she comes from a family of channelers, and she is a scientist who really put her work on the line to study this. Because it seems so taboo, any of us, whether we're doing it as a career or hobby likes on the side, we tend to put ourselves at risk for ridicule because it's not normalized yet. It's still seen outside of the box. And she has done some wonderful research, and I've had the privilege of helping her with some of the research as being a trance channeler medium that was chosen to follow through with some of the research they're doing at IONS, which hopefully will be coming out this year. I will keep you posted on what that's like. But if you're interested in it, put your fingers to the keyboard and look for reputable resources like IONS, IONS, like Rupert Sheldrake and his studies, and follow up and read it and see where your comfort level is. But I feel highly responsible that if I'm going to be teaching this subject, which I am, it is a delicate matter because it does involve you being able to maintain your character, personality, your belief systems, and adopt and take on something that might shift all of that. And I got to make sure that you're comfortable with those shifts. And if you're not, to address why. And I'm highly aware that I am not a psychotherapist, nor a counselor, nor a therapist. So I do my best to direct you to those outlets that really can provide that support for you. With all that said, I can see why it would be a little intimidating. I teach it in a way where it's a lot of fun, because the key to opening up to this energy-centric world is to do so through play. I mean, kids have got it figured out, man. Ages zip to like 8, I bow to you. You've got something. And as an adult, I clamor to find that again, to slow down and be creative and expressive and believe that anything is possible and play through it increases my frequency, which increases my bandwidth of access to other energies, which helps me to trance channel. So the classes are done with a little bit of play. Natty Nat says, when I'm around certain friends, I pick up on their thoughts pretty easily, but I never know it's there until I say something out loud and they say, I was just thinking that. I love it when that happens. Hi, Vlad. It's good to see you here. Oh, my thing just jumped. Sorry about that. Sheldon says, Sheldon was there. Some of the homework cracked me up and test you a little bit as well. Oh, Sheldon, you have to share. Which part of the homework just totally cracked you up? Where you were like, Jamie, I can't believe you're going to make us do this. We can share some of the homework. I'm not zipped up. I want you guys to be comfortable. It's why we're having chat threads like this to kind of, unwind. Like, how do we even come across going, I'm interested in channeling? I mean, that sounds like I'm going tomorrow. I've booked a ride to the moon. And people are like, okay. How do you really engage and say that? Oh, Sheldon, thank you. Jamie is supporting us even after the class. There's a support group she has once a month where we can share what happened, etc. We just had ours today. And we talked about how to provide healthy space for our clients when we're doing channeled work or trance channeled work. So Corey says, that's amazing. So if there's a knee-jerk fear from childhood experiences with spirit, leaning into the playful side of this work can help with that? It actually can. Isn't that crazy? I mean, think about this. When you're in fits of laughter, do you remember the last time you've done this? Fits of laughter. Like you're hurting, you're laughing so hard. And then when you suck in air, you sound like a seal. And you start laughing. That one. Okay, recall that memory. What else were you thinking about then? Were you fearful of anything? Did you have any physical pain? We've got big loud cars in Atlanta. Did you have any physical pain? Did you, were you depressed? Was your heart sad? Like, what was going on? Most likely, none of it. So when I know we're not going to be addressing trance channeling material in fits of laughter, it's an extreme example, but when we approach it lightheartedly in a more respectful play, I'm not talking playful where we're going to be destructive and careless. I'm talking about approaching with a carefree attitude and a belief that anything is possible, because that's going to be the very first step to help you unwind your belief systems that this work is taboo, that this is a cult, that this is not accessible to me. Other people do that, but I don't. Even though I'm interested in it, I don't have that ability. I wasn't born with it. I believe that we all have the ability. Should we choose to use it, that's going to be a choice. And so here is your choice. And if at, any time you're out there going, yeah, I like that, but you're not for me, then still reach out. I believe in community over competition. I can possibly help you find somebody else that would align in the way that you're looking for to help you learn. Tissue box. Tissue box has a very off question and off topic. I'm going to see if I can hold that until the end and see if there's any trance channeling or channeling classes, but I've got you. Raising your arm at night for the hypnagogic state, Sheldon. That was your one where you were like, what? But how wonderful was it? Did it get you some results? Silence for another 24 hours. That was one. Very simple exercises that you can do, but breaks you out of where you feel your boundaries are. You think you create these boundaries to keep you safe, but they can also trap you. They can keep you held to one spot, and it could be the very thing that stops you from moving forward, and you're constantly going around, but I want to learn this, but I can't. I want to go here, but I can't never seem to get there. I want to do this, but I can't. So you got to look at those belief systems. But a lot of us, we're kind of tired, if I may speak so boldly. A lot of us get tired, and when we start to see, oh God, we got to do this internal work, I don't want to. But if we approached it by play and doing some of these strange things that Sheldon is listing, raising your arm at night for hypnagogic, silence for 24 hours, it starts to get fun. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. If you guys do love this content and it works with you, please like and subscribe. It really helps us get the word out there. And if you enjoy this kind of content, then check out. We have it up in the thread, the Trance Channeling series link. We also have a video, 2 videos here on YouTube that describe it a little bit more. Andrea says, when you trance channel someone, can you feel them hug you, or is it like a Jamie hug? When you trance channel someone, can you feel them hug you? Andrea, I wish I knew in which perspective you were asking the question. When I'm trance channeling someone, I really don't feel their touch. For me, I'm on the deeper end of channeling, and I tend to sleep like Edgar Casey. I check out. When I'm not in a deep trance and I'm doing my readings, one-on-one readings on the telephone with people, I hear spirit and it comes out of my mouth, but I don't feel a lot. But if you're asking if I'm trance channeling, like there was a time I was trance channeling Eric Medus, and we had a live event, and we had roughly 60 people in the room. He hugged every single person. And from what I heard afterwards, because I didn't recall the experience, people who know me and have hugged me said that when you hugged me, it was so strong, it was shocking. I thought, like, this is not you. And you hugged me like you were this tall guy, and you're just like this little chick. So it was different. So I had 2 ways of seeing it. I hope it helped. Vera, how do you deal with, where did it go? As soon as I touch it. How do you deal with the meta moments where everything coming in gives you the God tingles? Does anyone know what I mean? Like, I often can't hold back the tears. I've never heard the phrase God tingles, but yeah, there are those moments, maybe mega moments, where it's all the information is available. It's as if your body, your heart, your deep, deep love is spread so thin that it can blanket and touch everything at once, and you're not even stretched to conceive that thought. It is happening. And it's just a deep breath in, and I'll say, Vera, there's just times I have to sit and cry. That's all I can do. And there's times where I go home after days of work, and after a day of work, and I sit in my car because I can't get out because I'm just sobbing. And sometimes I can't tell you why I'm crying. I can't tell you if it's because I'm sad or I'm overly happy and amazed, grateful to be alive, sad to be alive. I don't know. It's just a lot. There's some days I get into my front yard for about an hour and I pull weeds before I can even go inside. And my husband comes out and he'll see my shoes are off, my computer bag is set aside, and everything is scattered. I'm out there pulling weeds, and he'll just go, hey babe, I love you. And he'll turn around and go inside because he knows I'm decompressing. So there are those moments, and I think we find our ways of processing it. I definitely never have looked back at those moments with any value of regret. They have always opened me up in such a way that I often can't put words to it. English words, man, just labeling, and it just, I don't know, it squishes it into a, like, ugh. Does that make sense? Using the English words or putting words to it often takes away what I'm trying to convey. And you'll have these experiences when you're practicing channeling. Greetings, Danielle Riverin from Canada. I love it. Shelley was saying, yes, Sheldon, the silence for 24 hours is going to be hard for me because it's silence. Maitland's laughing with you. It's not even talking to your pets, your children, your spouse. It is an agreement that you make with the household. If you live with others, I'm going to be silent. It's incredible. It cracks open deep stuff inside. Yes, that's going to be difficult. I often suggest wearing a pad and pen so that you can pick up or your phone and just text messages and text back and forth. But not even talking to self out loud, not even in the shower. It's awesome. Corey, it hit the nail on the head. Good. I'm so happy. Amy Garcia, silence is not speaking or all silence, like no TV, social media, no music. Good, that's taking it to another level. My request is no speaking. No speaking. But if you're somebody who can feel more advanced sitting in silence as well as not speaking, then I would really ask that you take it there. But I'm going to ask for the minimal amount, and that's going to be not speaking. Shelly Ham, thank you so much for the financial love. I am so grateful. Thank you very much. And Vlad, thank you very much for your financial energy. It was very kind. Thank you. Gregor says, when you channel, can the spirits see through your eyes when they are closed? I thought I saw that in some of the videos. Yes, they can apparently see through my eyes. I had video of them moving through the room and not hitting walls or chairs or people or tripping. But I also have video where I'm trance channeling, my eyes are wide open. I don't know if it's my preference or their preference. It's just, I know Maitland and Grace keep the eyes closed. I work with them most often. But there were times that even Eric would channel with his eyes open, and Michael, Mother Mary. It's intriguing. KDP, the course starts in less than 3 weeks. Whoa, I didn't realize it was so close. My head's so tingly right now. I love it. Yay. Aw, Natty, every time I hear you talk about channeling, it feels like home, and I want so badly to join your course, but I live in a household that's very challenging to take the sleep. No peace here, nor respect. I understand. I wish that I could sit and answer seek with you about how you could come to this. The class is once a week, and you don't need to be there live, but I would like at least a week in between each class that you watch. I like it when you're there live because then that gives you the opportunity to ask questions to me, and we can banter a little bit before class and after if there's something that's lingering with you. And then it's every other week we have a Q&A. We just gather, no agenda, and we're like, what's going on? How are you managing? Did you like that homework? Where did it push your buttons? And we get to process some of it. Some people are like, I do not process. Thank you. I'm good. That's great. You don't need to come to the Q&As. Some people are like, I need to have more of your time than you are ever going to offer me, so I will be there. And it's wonderful because we get a lot of time to really hone in on level of comfort. Danielle Riverin, question, did you ever channel a negative being, and how did you manage to let him go if you did and not let him come back? I've only had one occasion, and I was quite young. I was in my early 20s when I did this. I attended, it's story time, everybody, gather around. Oh. I was teaching a psychic awareness class, and it was here in Atlanta, and I was invited to come to a house that was quite haunted. The curtains that were 20 feet up on high windows were falling off the wall. There were scratches on the wall that tore up the drywall, the paint, and they looked like claws from a hand that were high out of reach for where this older woman could have done. It was a singular older woman that lived there. There were blood marks on the wall that came from nowhere. And it was quite disheartening. There was a lot of stuff happening on the land. And I said, I'll go there. And this spirit was very elusive, knew that I could see him, was avoiding me playing games. And I thought, you know what? There's one thing I have I know he'll show up for, and I can get him. I can invite him to use my body. I know he'll come for that. So I had already built my protection and my boundaries in place. So I was conscious about what I was doing. It's not that a lower entity came in. When I teach trance channeling or even channeling, receiving information, the way that I teach boundaries and the levels that you put in place, I would be quite surprised if you unknowingly attract a negative entity, because your alarms would go off and your systems would work. So here, I consciously invited this entity in to capture and transition him into the light because he wasn't transitioned. And in my body, he proceeded to ask for cigarettes, chose not to smoke them, but ate them, ate the paper, the wrapping, the tobacco, not the filter, and swallowed it. Just started eating the cigarettes. And was very ugly to everybody. And upon leaving my body, he didn't tell anybody that he was leaving my body. And he stood me up. And when he left my body, I fell back just like a tree chopped at the feet. I fell back. I hit my head on a corner piece of a mahogany, what do you call those big armoire things that hold the TV, like an entertainment center? Clocked my head, and then smack, hit the ground. I came to, and when I came to, I could taste the tobacco. I was really nauseous. I vomited up the tobacco in the toilet, in the bathroom, and they have it on recording. Me falling, they have everything on recording, my students. And I thought, I don't remember hitting the ground or anything, do I have a concussion? Because it was hard, it was bad. My head never swelled, I never got a bruise, I never felt any bodily pain after I vomited the tobacco. Everything was perfect and fine. I was totally protected. I don't know how, because I can tap the edge of a table and I get a bruise. My leg just goes, and it bruises. But for this, nothing happened. But afterwards, we were able to transition this gentleman into the light. It was pretty interesting. All the information, the names we got, we checked the deeds, everything kind of rolled out very similar, and the woman never had a haunting again. So, story time, was it helpful? I don't know, but I would be quite surprised if through the way that I teach you the boundaries and the filters and the awareness, and the points of when to call it, because, there's some of us, you know who you are, who are like, oh, I'm just going to push it because it's like me. I'll push it. I'll go, hey, here's one way we can capture him is I'll open my body. I wouldn't do it that way anymore, but I'll push myself. No, stay in it. Stay in it. You got to do this. When I have every right to say, I'm out, and how to tie things up and clip it up. What? Andrea, you saw the video where he spoke to the people? Really? And then Eric jumped up on Lucas. I don't remember that. Ghost X10. How can I better explain medium and what they do to people who think their work is of the devil? How can you better explain mediums and what they do to people who think their work is of the devil? First of all, and in this series, I'll slow down and talk about where the responsibility is. Is it your responsibility to educate others that it's not the work of the devil? Most likely, no. But maybe you have some feelings inside of you that go, I don't want them to think that I work this way because it's not the way that I want to work. And you might feel wounded or attacked. And then we process that. What is it like to walk away without explaining? It's not your job. Most of the time, if they're attacking and placing labels and blame, they really don't want to learn. They just want a good, like, tit for tat, like a fight. Like, come on, you're this and I'm that. And you're not and I'm better. And that's just not the world mediums and energy-centric people really play in. It doesn't make sense to us. We're all about all-encompassing. And so we talk about how to approach that and come up with a language. You actually come up with a 20-second pitch to describe the work that you do. Oh, yes. FE95. Sometimes when I meditate and call for certain angels, I sense and somehow see them, but then I doubt myself. How can I trust in what I see and sense? Have you ever doubted? Love and light from Sweden. Ooh. Find me somebody in this energy-centric world that has never doubted. And I'll give you a rainbow that's never faded. Like, it's just it comes with. We're human. And in this instrument, we have so many lessons embedded into it about time being linear, about the value of your worth, about expectations that you need to live to. And a lot of it is in training us to place power externally of ourselves and not just really do what's right on the inside, because we're taught that if we do that, now we're egocentric. Now we're rude and awful, and we're taking advantage of the surroundings because we're all in it for me. So we'll talk about the balance of self first versus selfish. You know, they're very, very different. It's about priority and perspective, not about destructive self first. So when you fall into having your doubts, which happens, like when you say you're seeing and sensing somehow, and then when it's over, you go, no way. That might be self-worth. And so I would slow down and I would ask those questions to myself. Like, what would it take? And I get this a lot in readings when people show up and they go, okay, Jamie, this has been a great reading. You've told me some great stuff. And it's stuff that's amazing. I know you didn't know that because I've never told a soul, and here you are speaking it to me. Just like, whoa, which always excites me to get that kind of feedback. It's not what I'm doing the work for, but it's like, wow. But then they'll say, but tell me this. And if you can't tell me this, all of it, I'm going to just sweep it under the rug and walk away. Which makes me slow down and go, okay, I do not need to be their teacher. Okay, I got it. But I want to address this. You keep looking for validation points, and I think that I could validate you until the cows come home, which apparently is a really long time in that phrase and saying, and you will still want the next validation. Where are you going to draw the line? Where are you going to say, whoa, what? I saw and I heard this, or this was said to me, or I had this moment and now I'm heightened. Where do I say I give that validity rather than hunting and pecking for it to constantly be given to you? So it's going to be up to you. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So we have it. Doubt is natural, but it doesn't have to get in our way. It can be a very useful tool. I don't want you to completely obliterate it because I personally love a little skepticism. I think that is so very healthy. Everything in I was going to say mediocre, but Colleen and I were joking about the word mediocre. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Corey, you like hearing the stories? Good. Sally Jeffrey says, I'm seriously thinking about doing the channeling course, and whilst watching this, I've just had a sign I should. And what am I waiting for? What are you waiting for? Come play. Come play. Let's flip the switch on. I personally feel with more light workers in the world, more channelers, more people who can access the information in a healthy, respectful, grounded way, the world will be a better place. That is just the way I feel about it. Danielle, what's the difference between trance channeling, and remote viewing? So the difference between trance channeling is using a trance state to channel information from a subtle light source. So this could be full body incorporation, like Edgar Cayce, where you're sleeping and you're checked out. This could be a medium trance, where you have this body dysmorphia and you feel you're lucid, you're there with it, but you feel so out of sorts, but the information is coming through you, whether you're acting it out or talking about it, or you're recalling it and then writing it out later. Or a light trance state, kind of what happens when you're driving your car. And then you come to and you're like, oh my God, I'm so happy I didn't run a red light and I've arrived to my destination and I don't know how I got here. But you were fully conscious and you were doing something and you were driving. That's a light trance state that happens to us every day. And it's often the daydream state that we fall into when we end up creating through our imaginative outlet, which is guised that way because it's really our intuition, when we're receiving premonitions and manifestations of where we want to take ourselves or how we could be better or answer seeking or those aha moments. That's all a light trance channel state. So when we look at channeling, that would be a conscious effort, no trance involved, and you are receiving. This could be gut felt or gut instinct, heartfelt, could be your classic intuition, and your clairs, claircognizant, audient. Oh, here we go. You ready, Ollie? If you're still here. Clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizant, clairolfactory, clairgustance. Oh, did I do that okay? Clairsentient as well. I don't know if I said it. And then remote viewing. Remote viewing is similar. It is a technique similar to outer body experience, where you are in your body, but you are transcending time and space. You're unlocking those belief systems that hold you linear, and you're able to see at far distances. Is it good enough? The difference is you are not channeling information in, you're using your core being of light to come out and make the view. Okay. Scrolling down. Ollie, you're here. Yay. Okay. Happens all the time to Ed Gonzalez. Gregor, how do you feel about, or how do you deal with the issue of people becoming dependent on the channeled information from you versus building a trust in themselves? I have these beautiful insight questions. When I'm doing my work and I find that the same person is coming back with the same questions, and often if I'm in trance state, I'm unaware of it, but spirit will be, and spirit will call them out. But if you're in my readings and you come back often for a reading and you're asking the same thing, I'll put a stop to it. And I'll say, hi. It seems as if spirit is saying the same thing to you. Is it that you need to learn more about that and follow through with that and try that on before you can go to the next level? Because I don't want to continue to use your financial resources and your time to give you the same message. And so I'll tell them, please, if you're going to come back to me, make sure these points are done and tried on. And these points that we're talking about are always physically safe for the person to follow through. We're not asking them to push through something they can't do on their own. And if they're not done, and you need help, seek it from a different channeler, because what information is coming through my channel, my straw, is not being processed by you. So they're going to repeat it until you really take it on. Because if you're coming from the same angle, you're going to get the same approach. It's like a deep breath, reassess, change your perspective. That is my go-to statement. And that's really, really helpful when it comes to getting the deeper answers from spirit. Katie P, can I just mention, Jamie talks more about her experience on a docuseries. Oh gosh, yeah. They call us channelers. At least I think that's what it's called. It's equally fascinating. Yeah, there's a wonderful docuseries, They Call Us Channelers, that Kevin Moore put together. And then I'm also in a documentary called The Creative Play of Consciousness. And it's almost a 4-hour documentary. It goes through science, and then it falls into kind of the quantum world, and then it's the channelers at the end. And I find that the creative play of consciousness, I wonder, Colleen, if you're still hanging out, you can find a link to it. You can rent it and watch it. It's absolutely fabulous. Lady Madonna is like, I love the Kevin Moore show. I do too. He did an incredible work highlighting channelers globally. Thank you for that shout out, Katie. I like to just talk about the work, and I will admit, I'll be the first to admit, I am not the best marketer of my work. There's a balance within me that says if I talk too much about it, I feel like I'm selling it, and I don't want to sell it. I want to talk about it so people find their interest in it, and then I can motivate their interest. Because my core need is, I just want to wake people up, man. I just want to sneak over and gently wake you up and just go, hey, wake up, wake up, wake up. You're alive. There's so much that's here. So I teeter on that heavy marketing thing. A TikTok, huh? What could I do on a TikTok? Well, this has been so very wonderful to hang out with you and talk about this. If this is something you really like, these open conversations, please like the video. I do my best to come back every Friday to YouTube live stream and do a public chat. I'll be back next Friday. Is it the 23rd? I'll get it together one day. But I'll be back next Friday. Yeah, I can't do math right now. And we'll talk a little bit more about channeling. Oh, They Call Us Channelers. Thank you, Colleen. And then creative play of consciousness. That one rocks. And if any time that you want to share a topic that you think we need to get into, just in the chat thread, because we continue, Colleen and myself, to read the comments and make sure that we are providing the content that you are seeking for. That's what makes this such a great, healthy relationship. That's what makes us the Luminaires. We continue to shine light for all. You guys are awesome. Please, from this moment on, choose that happiness. Every moment you got a choice. Pick the one that's going to put the smile on your face. Prioritize self-care, self first. Follow your heart. And I hope to see you back here. Remember, this is not woo-woo. It's true. Bye, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Bye.